Well, here we are again, folks. And you know what I always say, those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Y'all remember what happened with this lady up here? This is Tamia Horsford, a 40-year-old mother in Forsyth, Georgia. She went to a sleepover with some football moms in 2018. And the next day she was found dead, face down in the backyard of the very place where they were having the sleepover. And nobody know nothing about what happened. And to this day, there has not been justice in this case. And those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. This young man right here is Nolan Wells, who unfortunately was found deceased just a little while ago. He went out to Horn Island in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, with these guys right here for a July the 4th excursion, and he didn't make it home. These guys brought his phone back to his mother and father, but they did not bring him back. So I say to you once again, because I just made this same video a few weeks ago when the Carmelo Anthony trial was going on, stop putting your kids in these situations where they are in danger. I know you feel like you're doing what's best for them. I know you feel like sending them to the white schools and putting them in these white neighborhoods and white enclaves and having all white friends. I know you feel like you're doing what is best for them, but you are putting your beautiful black babies in danger. Tamia Horsford is gone. Nolan Wells is gone. And nobody know nothing. Nobody knows anything. And his death has been ruled an accidental drowning. But somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. And at the end of the day, we do not learn from history, and it continues to repeat itself. Don't be the token in the group, because tokens get spent. And as you see right here, history keeps on repeating itself until we get smart enough to understand. Stop putting yourself in these dangerous situations. You are in danger.
Black parents, we need to have an uncomfortable conversation, because sometimes what we think might actually be protecting our kids is really exposing them to more harm. Now, after hearing that story about Nolan, the young black boy who went on a boat trip with his all-white friends, but he was the only one who didn't return. And now a lot of black parents are asking some hard questions. Because for generations, black families were told the goal is simple. Move to what they call a better neighborhood. Get into what they call a better school district. Put your child in better opportunities. But honestly, at some point, we got to ask, better according to who? Because what is the price of a better zip code if your child is constantly fighting to prove that they belong in it? What's the price if they start believing that being accepted is the same thing as being protected? And this is where the conversation is going to get uncomfortable. Some of our kids grew up thinking America was post-racial because their friend group was diverse. They thought because somebody invited them over, laughed with them, played sports with them, that meant that those people understood their experience. Friendship doesn't automatically mean awareness, and proximity doesn't automatically mean protection. And parents, I want to tell you, this is not about telling your children who they can and cannot be friends with. This is about making sure that your child understands who they are before the world tries to tell them who they are. Because sometimes we're so busy trying to get our child a seat at somebody else's table, we forget to ask what they had to give up to get there. Better schools mean nothing if your child loses their confidence. Better neighborhoods mean nothing if your child feels isolated. Protect your babies. Talk to your babies. Because the goal was never for our children to just survive in these spaces. The goal was for them to know their worth, no matter what space they choose to walk into.
3 white dudes, 1 black dude go out for a trip together, but guess who only made it back? So now you telling me the only black kid in the group disappears and nobody knows what happened? That's the story that's got people across the country scratching their heads right now. Teenager goes on a 4th of July trip with 3 friends who just so happen to be white. Hours later, he's gone. The person missing is Nolan Wells, the only black kid in the group. And the explanation that's circulating is that nobody knows exactly what happened. Are you shitting me? Think about that for a second. How do 4 people leave together, but only 3 can explain how they came back? At what point did everyone realize Nolan wasn't there? Who saw him last? What conversations took place before he disappeared? Those are the kinds of questions investigators have to answer. Now, asking questions isn't the same thing as accusing anyone. Facts do matter, evidence matter, and every person deserves due process, but families also deserve answers, and the public naturally wants to understand how someone can vanish while surrounded by people who's supposed to be his friends and supposed to know where he was. Cases like this spread because they tap into something every parent fears. You trust your child is safe with friends, but then suddenly they are missing.
So for anyone who hasn't heard about this story, an 18-year-old college football player named Nolan Wells went missing after attending a 4th of July trip to Horn Island in Mississippi with a group of his white friends. According to investigators, the group arrived to Horn Island together on a boat, but later that day, when that boat returned to the mainland, Nolan wasn't on it. His family reported him missing that night. After an extensive search involving multiple agencies, his body was found in the water near the island 2 days later. Authorities are saying they suspect drowning, but the investigation is still ongoing, so the manner and cause of his death is still undetermined. And almost immediately, I noticed the conversation switch from what happened to Nolan Wells to, well, was he drinking? Was he partying? And this is something I've noticed that stands out constantly in the media. When a young white person goes missing, the coverage tends to sound like beloved son, promising student, community devastated. But when a young black person goes missing, suddenly we're conducting a full character audit. What parties did he go to? Who was he with? Was he drinking underage? And maybe it's just me, but those don't sound like answers to the question, how did a young 18-year-old end up dead? Now, there are reports of an alleged video of Nolan and his friends arguing on the beach, which, okay, have you argued with your friends? Because I most certainly have. I've argued with friends in parking lots, on vacation, at the club. But you know what I haven't done? Left somebody stranded on an island 10 miles offshore. Especially not somebody I arrived with. Because whether the argument was about politics, relationships, who stole whose charger, whether there was no fucking argument at all, if we came together, we are leaving together. And to be clear, that doesn't mean anyone is guilty of anything, but I'm just confused as to why the media has shifted blame on Nolan and not the people he arrived on this trip with. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Asking questions is not accusing someone of something. But a young black 18-year-old was found dead after attending a trip with a group of his white friends. And there are also claims that some of these friends who accompanied Nolan on this trip deactivated their social medias immediately after. That is questionable behavior. Nolan's family deserves answers because right now there are still far more questions than there are answers. And shifting blame onto the victim does not help in any way, shape, or form.
Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Truth Verdict, the channel where we examine today's biggest story, separating verified facts from speculation and encouraging thoughtful conversation based on evidence and respect. Before we begin, special thanks and full credit to the original creator and Stitch's video used to inspire this discussion.
The body of 18-year-old black teen Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. His white friends who were with him on the trip have already hired lawyers. Wells vanished July 4 during a 4th of July boat outing to Horn Island, Mississippi, about 10 miles off the Gulf Coast. A park ranger found him in the water near the northwest end on July 6th. His phone was not with him. It was in his father's possession. The island has no cell coverage and is only accessible by private boat. Search teams, including the Cajun Navy, scoured land and sea since his disappearance. Authorities have not said how many people were on the boat or who made the missing person report. But online video suggests a possible altercation before the friends left Wells behind. One friend is the child of a judge, and all of them quickly retained lawyers. Wells was reportedly heading to meet a girl, but instead his friends took another boat and departed without him. Why did his phone return, but he did not? Why the immediate legal protection? The family and activists are furious, comparing this to other cases where black victims' deaths were dismissed as accidents. Officials are awaiting DNA confirmation, though the family says they have identified him. What do you think?
I found this scrolling on social media. Let me know what y'all think about this.
The kid Nolan that's missing here from Biloxi, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, it's a lot more sinister than you guys think. Allegedly. I'm saying that because what I'm seeing online is pretty crazy. Okay, let's start off with 17-year-old Nolan Wells is missing from Horn Island, Mississippi, right off the coast of Biloxi. There's photos and a little video that was posted on the Horn Island group chat on Facebook. A girl named Vi Alice Ross posted that the white boys needed to be investigated because she went to school with them and it wasn't all that you guys think it is. Another girl, Caitlin, states that she was parked next to them until about 7:30 with no sign of Nolan to be found. But yet the report was he went missing earlier in the day, so why would they continue partying? It just doesn't make sense to me. And then this other commenter, Maggie, posted that there's too many white people to not notice that their one black friend is missing. Matthew Lamp posted that there was almost a fight that he had seen within that group of people on the Book of Faces. If you know where Nolan Wells is, or if you know what happened to him, or anything, if you have a boat and can maybe go down to Horn Island, between Horn and Ship Island, and see what's going on, maybe help search. I can't imagine what this mother is going through. Somebody knows what happened to her baby boy. I pray that they get justice.
And once again, it's a kid from Ocean Springs High School.
Mississippi teenager Nolan Xavier Wells disappeared after a boating trip with friends on Horn Island. And while his body has now been found and identified, what has many people talking is that the friends who were with him say they don't remember anything.
What's wrong with this picture?
A lot wrong.
What's wrong? It ain't no kinfolk. This story, unfortunately, without me even knowing Nolan's story, I knew the outcome. And that's sad to say. I had already known the outcome. You go out camping with a group of white people, it's one black person, that black person ain't making it alive. You go out swimming, group of white people, one black person, that black person ain't making it alive. You go anywhere with white people and there's one black person, that black person isn't making it out alive. So when we talk about these stories, and I'm hearing them over and over, when we're hearing all these names, Nolan and so on and so forth, all I can say is we need to focus on the resolve. Literally in this case, not only did all the friends say that they don't know what happened, but one of those friends of his mother is a judge. And I'm going to leave it at there. And I'll tell you guys, let me ask you, what do you think the end of this is going to be?
Black American men do not get the luxury of being the only black friend in a white group. Because early on, even as boys, you learn and they tell you that boys, black boys, are different. A lot of the times our girls get a pass because they are different. But as you age, they make a clear underlining when situations happens, why you are different, and when things happen, why they never speak up on you. The number one problem I have with it is that we don't get taught racial identity or racial politics. A lot of the times we go to these white schools and we don't understand hostility, microaggressions, and when smart things are said, we just brush it off like it's just that teacher. When in actuality, we got to understand a lot of these older prejudiced people have prejudice against black people, and we put them in environments and we don't discuss hostility, racial awakening, and we do a disservice. And then when you get older and you experience your racist moment, it shakes you forever. So I've never had that benefit of being the only white friend because I've known early from a child, especially boys, you learn immediately you are a black man. You will be treated like a black man. And remember, even when a young black boy is 12 or 13 years old and he's bigger, they will treat you like a man and dress you like one.
A story involved a young black boy named Nolan has sparked emotional conversation across social media and within many families. According to the claim circulation online, Nolan went on boat trip with 3 white friends, but he was the only one who didn't return alive. Since then, many people have been asking difficult questions, not only about what happened that day, but about broader issues of trust, belonging, race, parenting, and safety. At this time, it is important to separate verified facts from public speculation. Authorities are responsible for determining exactly what happened, and until investigations are completed, no one should be accused without evidence. However, the emotional response from many parents reflects concerns that go beyond this single case. From generations, many black families have worked hard to give their children opportunities they themselves never had. Their advice has often been familiar: move into a better neighborhood, enroll children in highly rated schools, help them build friendship across different communities, open doors that various generations didn't access. This goal comes from love and sacrifice. But tragedy like this have caused some parents to ask another question. What does better really means? Is it really higher property value, better school ranking, or should emotional safety, belonging, and cultural confidence also be part of the equation? Many children grow up with diversity group of friends. That often a positive thing. Friendship across different backgrounds can help young people understand one another, challenges stereotypes, and building stronger communities. But some parents argue that friendship alone does not erase difference in life experience. Being invited somewhere doesn't automatically mean everyone fully understands your experiences or challenges you may face. That does not mean people have bad intention. It simply means awareness and understanding often require honest conversation. Many parents believe one of the greatest gifts they can give their children is confidence in who they are, knowing your history, knowing your culture, knowing your value. Because confidence isn't supposed to depend on who accepts you. It should come from understanding your own worth first. Many educators and child psychologists have long emphasized that children with a strong sense of identity often handle social pressure more effectively. The online discussion surrounding Nolan's story has raised many emotional questions. Some people ask, could this tragedy have been prevented? Did everyone tell investigators everything they knew? Were warning signs missed? Did adults provide enough supervision? Should parents ask more questions before allowing children to attend activities? These are understandable questions, but they are also questions that should be answered through investigation and not assumption. If investigation reveals wrongdoing, those responsible should be held accountable through the justice system. If the incident was a tragic accident, that conclusion should be respected. Truth requires patience. Regardless of what investigators ultimately concluded, many families say this case is a reminder to know where your child are, know the adult supervision activities, encourage open conversation, teach your children to understand their instincts, build confidence in their identity and self-worth. Make sure they know they can always call home if they feel uncomfortable. This lesson applies for children of every background. Story like this is reminding us of the parenting isn't only about creating opportunity. It is also about preparing children to navigate the world safely and confidently. The goal isn't simply for children to fit into different spaces. The goal is for them to know their value wherever they go. As for the specific circumstances surrounding Noah's death, everyone deserves a full and fair evidence-based investigation. Family deserves answers, and public deserves facts rather than rumor. That is how justice is being served. Once again, special thanks and full credit to all stitches video used in this documentary. If you appreciate balanced conversation that encourage critical thinking, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Truth Verdict. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss future documentary. What lesson do you think parents can take from this tragedy like this? How can family prepare children for new environment while avoiding assumption before all the facts are new? Let's keep the discussion respectfully, thoughtful, and focus on facts. See you on the next episode. Bye.